This is a video for what you're going to do with leftover bananas. These are good and ripe, overripe, ready to go. Going to make a molasses banana walnut bread. It's a fairly simple recipe. You need about 4 bananas, egg, 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of molasses, uh, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 cup of whole wheat flour, 3/4 cup of regular unbleached white flour. Going to start off, you want your butter at room temperature, nice and soft. You're going to cream your bananas and butter together with the mixer. I just put these in there and then I'm going to chop them up while they're in there, as small as I can get them, just with a knife. And then blend them together. And once they're blended, you're going to mix beat the egg in there, and then 1 cup of molasses. In a separate bowl, you're going to combine your 1 cup of whole wheat flour, 3/4 cup of unbleached white flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and probably half a teaspoon of salt. You're going to mix those all together, and then you're going to mix it together with this. And once you start mixing it together, the flour and the wet mix, you're going to add in your walnuts. If you take your walnuts and stick them in a bag, like a Ziploc bag, and just beat them down to whatever consistency you want them. You don't want like whole pieces of whole half of piece of walnut in there. You're going to add about a cup of walnuts. Oh, and to your wet mix, add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 2 teaspoons vanilla. And that's the egg mixture, egg beaten in there. Just use 1 large egg. Now I'm going to put the molasses in there. All right, that's our molasses going in there. 1 cup of molasses. Preferably, you'd want to use unsulfured molasses instead of sulfured. You'd think of unsulfured molasses as the first pressing of the sugar cane. Sulfured molasses is at like a second pressing, where they add sulfur to the sugar cane to extract more of the juice. It's kind of nasty tasting compared to unsulfured. All right, let's mix this up. That's our molasses mixed in there. Now I'm going to mix up the dry flour mixture. Fold it in here along with the walnuts and the cinnamon and nutmeg. That's our dry ingredients all mixed together. I was wrong earlier. It only takes a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And just a pinch of salt. Just combine everything good. And then fold it into the wet mix. Here's your wet mix. Now you're going to want to have a spatula ready so you can fold it in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and dump it in there and start working on it. Okay, these are our walnuts. These were halves and pieces. They're a little too thick to go in there like that. I like to a little bit smaller. So you're just going to beat them down with a rolling pin to get them a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's probably all right. If you just kind of feel them, if there's any still big chunks left in there, just kind of break them up with your fingers. That ought to be good enough. I'm gonna mix the wet with the dry now, and then we'll fold in the walnuts to the mixture. Just added the walnuts in there and mix them in there good. That should be good. I'm gonna put it in my loaf pan now and get it in the oven. Pan is greased up. Gonna pour a mixture in there now. The oven's preheating as we speak. Again, you're gonna cook it for about an hour, 55 to 65 minutes. You can insert a toothpick in it when it hits that time. See if it's congealed good. Usually take it out and set it on a rack after it's done. Let it sit before I take it out of the pan. Some people put dusting of powdered sugar over top of it. I don't, but it looks nice with the powdered sugar on it, but I don't put it on there. A couple more variations is you can add a little bit of rum flavoring to it. Is good. Looks almost like chocolate, doesn't it? With the molasses in there and the whole wheat flour. That's it in the pan there, getting ready to go in the oven. And that's our molasses banana walnut bread. Just letting it cool off on the rack now. Smells good in here. Gave it an extra 5 minutes. So it was about 60 minutes total on this one. Ready to eat here in a little bit.